The ocean is a place of beauty. It is also a place that provides jobs, oxygen, medicine, and some of life's most essentials. It is also a place overutilized and undercared for by the entire planet. Did you know that the ocean has been around since the literal beginning of time, like since the earth was formed, and the first life was actually found in the depths of the ocean? However, as of recently, the oceans have been struggling to stay alive and healthy. This is due to the lack of care and the overusage of the ocean by humans. The source MAHB actually says that the ultimate reason for the degradation of our oceans is the unholy trio of ignorance, short-sightedness, and greed. In other words, humans see something they want and they go after it no matter what it takes for them to get there. Specifically in America, our main priorities have always been expanding, making great strides in technology and overall innovation. Nothing is ever good enough for us. We do whatever it takes to get ahead of the next person, but at what cost? Since the Industrial Revolution in the 1850s, our energy has increased by 25 times our consumption, freshwater usage has increased 10 times, and land under cultivation and habitation has expanded threefold. In this process, we have destroyed 30% of our tropical forests and wiped out 60% of mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles, and that comes from the time of India. Because of these issues, the ocean is said to have more plastic than fish in it by 2050, and that the water will almost be toxic to humans and everything living in it. The ocean is dying, and a need to preserve the ocean and the life within it is of the utmost importance now more than ever. We are the issue of this cause, but we can also be the solution. My name is Kylie Stockham, and I have been fortunate enough to have grown up in Southern California. Being so close to the beach my whole life, it has become my second home. I've spent countless hours swimming, surfing, scuba diving, snorkeling, and anything and everything in between. Growing up in this environment, as I got older, my eyes were opened up to the big issues that not only our state, not only our country, but our entire planet faces. Ocean conservation is a passion of mine, and I am fortunate enough to be able to use my information to educate more people on this topic. Even though I still have a lot of learning and helping to do, maybe from here, we can do it together. Okay, so ocean conservation, what is it and why is it important? So the ocean, like I said previously, is very important to the daily lives we live. There are some of the main issues. It's kind of confusing, but I'm going to try to explain it in the simplest way possible, so bear with me. The ocean provides an abundant amount of resources in our daily lives, and it is extremely important that we do not lose those resources. However, each item that the ocean provides for us, there's a human interference causing it to be harmful and no longer benefiting for us in the long run, and especially not benefiting the ocean. So that was kind of a lot, but here's an example. We get told throughout our whole lives that trees cause the majority of our oxygen, and while they do give us a lot of oxygen, coral reefs actually provide 50 to 80% of the oxygen in our world. However, we are killing coral reefs through toxic chemicals, through sunscreen, we're killing them through plastic pollution, specifically single-use plastics, and unsustainable fishing practices, ocean dumping, and so much more. So humans are directly interfering with the oxygen we need in our everyday lives to live and breathe and be healthy. So another example is medicine. The ocean provides so much medicine for us, and so during COVID, scientists found the blood of a horseshoe crab could be a cure for COVID or be put into the vaccine. Unfortunately, due to their over-testing and curiosity of these crabs, they actually ended up being put on the vulnerable list, which is like near endangered species or protected, because they over-harvested them. And this has happened so many other times with coral being thought to slow or even stop the spread of cancer, but they harvested so much of that coral that they can't harvest anymore, and that research has come to a halt due to the fact that they can't harvest it anymore. This is very detrimental to ocean life because not only are we in the market for horseshoe crabs in their blood or this coral, but fish and the ocean needs these organisms to thrive and continue to make new things to help us. But we are definitely overstepping our boundaries and taking more than we need. However, as important as ocean conservation can be, people argue that getting into it can be really expensive, which is true. Having to buy more reusable items in place of single use can be very costly. Voting on bills that raise taxes in support of oceans are costly. The economic turn it could have can definitely raise prices in certain areas of the economy. Donating and giving to organizations to help the ocean can cost a lot of money as well, and volunteering is just, it takes a lot of time out of you and a lot of energy. So I've asked Larry Berlin, my old ocean science teacher, to join me to talk about ocean conservation, some common issues with it, and his overall thoughts about it, so we can all get a better understanding. He is an amazing teacher, and he's actually been on ABC 7 News before for his strides in ocean conservation in a classroom, so I'm looking forward to hearing from him. Hi, Mr. Berlin. Thank you so much for allowing me to interview you today. If you wouldn't mind giving us a brief introduction just as to who you are and what you do.
I'm Larry Berlin. I am a math and science teacher. I've been teaching math and science for the past 29 years. I am also a scuba instructor. I do a lot of diving. I've done several underwater cleanups, both in Catalina and up and down our coast.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So as we both know, the idea of ocean conservation is sometimes a controversial subject, but it's very serious conversation and it's a very serious topic, especially in today's news and everything. So I'm going to ask you, what are the issues with ocean conservation, and why do some people seem to be against the idea of it?
There's more issues probably than I can name, but the controversy comes from the fact that whatever we do to protect the ocean impacts somebody economically. If you're a sewage plant and you got to get rid of sewage someplace, the ocean provides the biggest expanse to get rid of it where people aren't going to see it. Anything else is a lot more expensive. Where we see it a lot, where there are practically islands of plastic floating in the ocean. One of them not far from Hawaii is roughly the size of Texas. There's 5 of those, as I recall. So getting rid of that correctly, or in some more environmentally favorable means, it is very expensive. We're producing more trash than we could bury on land, so where does it go?
Yeah. As a diver with over 700 log dives, what have you seen firsthand is the biggest issue in our ocean?
Great question. I love hunting lobster. And it used to be, again, you can take, the rules haven't changed. You can go out and take 7 a day and have 7 in your possession. Since 2013, a lot of that has disappeared. They're harder to find. I would spearfish. Finding anything of legal size within our coastal waters is hard. So there's 2 issues. Number one, overfishing and poaching. And the other is global warming, which has raised the temperature of the oceans, which has killed the kelp. I'm an abalone diver. The rules were you could take 3 a day and have 3 in your possession. So if you took your 3 and you didn't eat any of them, you were done abalone diving. They have since almost completely disappeared. And I can live without abalone, but let's say you're up in Mendocino and you're a campground owner. Well, a lot of the people you got in the summer for camping were up there to go get abalone. Well, they're not using your campground anymore. There's a dive shop. Well, all the abalone divers would go in there for gear. They're not going in there anymore because they're not diving for abalone. So the impact is wider than just, okay, we can't fish for abalone. How does that economically impact?
So kind of shifting gears, why should people who don't live by the ocean be concerned about ocean conservation? And do people who live far away from the ocean, say in the middle of America, even have effect on them being super unhealthy?
Oh gosh, let's start with the impacts. You live in North Dakota. All water runs to the ocean. Okay, so you wash your car. The water that runs through your driveway picks up whatever oil remnants there are, any hydrocarbons, any fertilizers, which are nitrates, and washes them into the system that ultimately winds up in the ocean. Okay, so now we've got nitrates in the water. It poisons the seafood, all comes from the ocean. The economy impacts economy everywhere. So let's say the economy along the California coast begins to collapse because of fish and overfishing. That impacts everybody's economy. And then to protect the water, they've got to put standards on everyone, which means, how do I irrigate land? Where does the water go? Where do I get it from? So it impacts everybody.
Okay, and then if you can leave the viewers of this video with just like one last thing, what message do you want to leave them with?
This is the only planet we got. It's the only planet we live on. It's the only air we have to breathe. And we need to take care of it before it stops taking care of us. One planet, I don't care where you live on it, it is one planet, and it's not as big as people want to make it out to be.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for you today, so thank you
Okay.
so much. Okay, so with all of that being said, I thought I would give you guys some ways that you could help our oceans and start making progressive and positive steps in the right direction. So something super easy but also seemingly difficult is start by making the small little changes in your everyday life. So instead of grabbing a straw from Chick-fil-A, bring your own reusable straws or use reusable silverware, plates, stuff like that. Have a reusable water bottle, and little things like that will really go a long way, even if they seem like they won't. Something else you can do is get involved. I know a lot of us go to school in San Diego, and if you don't, if you live by the oceans, there's so many programs out there that you can help directly. For example, Surfline is a really good program that you can get involved with. They do beach cleanups all around Southern California, and if you're not from Southern California, you could donate to some organizations such as For Ocean, Save the Reef, and so many more. I'll put a list right here. And I hope to see all of you guys out there making a positive change for our oceans, not only for ourselves and our future generations so they can enjoy it, but also just for all the sea life in the oceans and all the organisms and creatures that depend on it. So let's get out there, let's be the change in the right direction, let's be something positive for our earth rather than affecting it anymore.